Let me see. Maybe that one's better. Hey guys, how are you? Hello everyone walking in. I know there's not a lot of people here. Okay. That's better. Anyhow, I'm gonna talk to myself for a while. I'm eating candy, guys. Stress makes you do shit that you're like, what the hell? Anyhow, where is it? Here we go. I wanted to talk about a couple of things, basically surrounded around women. And yeah, surrounded about women. So, what I wanted to talk about is how the United States has enacted and maintained various laws and policies that have been criticized for oppressing women, particularly in areas of reproductive and workplace equality and legal protections. So those are some of the subjects that I wanted to discuss, right? So one, the reproductive right restrictions. So post Roe versus Wade bans following in 2022 the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, which overturned Roe versus Wade, numerous of states implemented abortion bans. As of 2023, 15 states have enacted early stage abortion bans without exceptions for rape or incest, severely limiting women's reproductive autonomy. Now, for those that come in and say, well, you still have time to go in and get medical services and then you should be able to take care of yourself, right? Let me tell you that a lot of us women can't even get a doctor's appointment until after 6 weeks. And in some states, I believe like Florida, in order to obtain a termination, you have to be in there right at 6 weeks, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen. Excuse me. So that's a problem. And then we talk about criminalization of abortion, a factor with the anti-abortion movement. Hi there, anti-abortion movement, known as abortion abolish. Really? Advocates, right? Abortion, that they're pro-life. Advocates for prosecuting women who obtain abortions, equating to homicide. That's kind of crazy. Who cares about what the people that are watching you? Oh, thank you. I don't really care about other people. Advocates for prosecuting women who obtain abortions, equating to homicide. This perspective has been influenced legislation in states like Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, which, where proposals have been introduced to charge women with murder for seeking abortions. That's crazy. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone, as you're walking in. Hi, good afternoon. Happy Mother's Day for all of you Mexican women out there because we celebrate today. I know Chinese women also celebrate today, so happy Mother's Day. Restrictions on abortion medication. I don't know if you guys have heard, but can you read what I said? Oh, yeah, I can read it. It says, who cares about the people that are watching you? We still love you, and I know that you have videos. I do, and it's okay. You barely have people watching you. I'm going to watch you every single day. Thank you so much, Leticia. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to kind of, part of the reason I do this is because one, I'm stressed, right? Two, I think that a lot of women need to understand, and men as well, because men, oh my God, some men are, I was on a live the other day and some man was like, well, it's women's fault because they go out on Saturday night and go have fun and have irresponsible actions. And then they use abortion as their birth control. And I was like, what? That is ludicrous. That is ludicrous because it doesn't happen that way. That's not the way things occur. So that's a problem in itself, right? You only have one person watching you, but I'm gonna still watch forever. That's okay. Thank you so much. Where am I from? I'm from the United States of America. I am in this blue state, so that's where I'm at. Restrictions on abortion medication. Campaigns like Rolling Thunder aim to limit the access to the abortion pill. Widely used, right? Strategies include pursuing the FDA to reinstate restrictions preventing the Comstock Act to prevent mailing abortion pills. If you guys didn't know, actually, which I was really surprised about, and I'm not saying he's a good guy, okay, not at all. So the Trump administration is actually advocating for the abortion pill, which is crazy because in every other aspect, he's trying to just clobber us, right? So I thought that was interesting. So here, then it talks about the absence of explicit constitutional protections. The U.S. Constitution does not explicitly guarantee equality on the basis of sex. This omission leaves women's right vulnerable to erosion, as demonstrated by recent rollbacks in reproductive rights. That's crazy too. Okay, you have the best videos ever. I'm not gonna lie to people that you say have bad videos. I know that you have good videos. I've been having bad days sometimes too. Yeah, it's really hard, Leticia. It's really, really hard. And this is kind of why I talk about these things, right? Because somehow we need to get that stress and get those things that are happening in our lives out. And so this is my way of getting out my stress, but also informing people at the same time. And I get it, you know, I'm not perfect. I have my own flaws. And earlier I was on a TikTok live and I had a rage moment, but I'm trying to be good, okay? So then let's talk about workplace inequality. The gender pay gap. Women in the U.S. earn approximately 76 cents for every dollar earned by men, with the gap being wider for women of color. Underrepresentation in leadership. Women hold 17% of seats in U.S. Congress and make up 4% of the top leadership positions in Fortune 500 companies, and that is a reality. Do you live around Cherry Street? No. Are you in the IE area too? I'm not on Cherry Street, but I do live in the IE. Excuse me, I'm choking here. Whew. I'm trying to drink my water. It's really hot. It's 104 degrees outside, guys. Okay. So, for historical legal inequalities, credit and financial autonomy. And this is a crazy one because it has surged its ugly head again, okay? Credit and financial autonomy. Until 1974, women could be denied credit cards without their husband's permission, limiting their financial independence. Jury service. Women were not permitted to serve in juries in all 50 states until 1973, excluding them from full civil participation. And actually, in the last couple of weeks, we have seen that banks are already rolling back some type of protections. Women are finding it more difficult to obtain bank accounts, to obtain loans for homes. What's next? You need your husband's signature so that you can have birth control or maybe depression medication. Because as we get older, women need a lot of different types of hormones. So is that what's coming? Oh, God. The violence against women. High rates of gender-based violence. The U.S. has significant rates of gender-based violence, with systematic issues addressing and preventing such incidents. Limitations on tribal jurisdiction. Federal laws restrict the ability for tribal courts to prosecute non-Indigenous perpetrators of violence against Indigenous women, leaving many cases unaddressed. Book bans and DEI restrictions. The Pentagon has directed the military libraries to remove books addressing diversity, anti-racism, and gender-related topics. This move is in part to a broader campaign to eliminate diversity and equity and inclusion content within the military. I mean, do you want women to serve? Because while women are serving, shouldn't they have the knowledge that they require to be able to maybe protect themselves. Maternal health discrepancies, lack of paid maternity leave. The U.S. is one of the few countries that does not guarantee paid maternity leave, impacting women's health and economic stability. Now, we know this is true. Why do we know this is true? We know this is true because we have seen it happen time and time again, where blue states versus red states. Blue states have FMLA, where red states, you have to pay for it as an additional perk to your insurance. That is insanity. And then they wonder why you don't want to have more children and contribute to this country more. High maternal mortality rates. Now, this one's a kicker because last year I heard a Republican congressman, and I don't remember if it was Louisiana or if it was Tennessee, but he made the claim that maternal deaths were low unless you began to count Black women. And that to me was an insult because we're all women, we all live in the United States, and we should all be counted equally, okay? And the other thing that really irks me about this is because when my last child was born, the hospital didn't pay attention to me, and my baby was born on the floor. So he fell from the wheelchair onto the floor, and they dragged him at least for 2 hallways. So this does happen. It happens quite frequently, and men don't care. They don't care. Anyhow, let's move on. So high maternal mortality. The U.S. has the highest maternal mortality rate among developed nations, with significant racial disparities affecting women of color. Hence why this happened to me, right? So then, these examples illustrate systematic challenges and legal structures that have contributed to the oppression of women in the United States. Addressing these issues requires comprehensive legal reform and societal changes to promote gender equality and protection of rights. I think it's important to talk about all the things that affect us as women because, well, I am a woman, so I want to address these subjects because I have family and nieces and nephews, and whether we believe it or not, these things do affect our sons as well. So let's go into a different subject, but still relating to women, and let's talk about the 1848 Seneca Falls Convention. The women's rights movement is often traced back to the Seneca Falls Convention in July of 1848, organized by Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucerda Mott, a convention produced as a declaration of sentiments which was called for equal rights for women, including the right to vote. Well, they left that all the way out because they didn't get the right to vote at that point. So in 1869, Wyoming grants women the right to vote. In December of 1869, Wyoming Territory passed the first law in U.S. history granting women the right to vote and hold public office. When Wyoming became a state in 1890, it retained these rights, becoming the first state to allow general women's suffrage. In 1920, the ratification of the 19th Amendment was when it was there. After decades of activism, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified on August 18, 1920. It states the right of citizenship of the United States to vote shall be denied and abridged on the account of sex, effectively granting women the right to vote nationwide. In 1963, the Equal Pay Act. The Equal Pay Act aimed to abolish wage disparities based on sex, mandating that men and women receive equal pay, equal work in the same establishment. In 1972, Title V enacted. The Educational Amendments was enacted in 1972, prohibiting sex-based discrimination in any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This law significantly increased the opportunity for women in athletics and education. In 1973, Roe v. Wade decision. In 1973, the Supreme Court's decision in Roe v. Wade recognized a woman's constitutional right to privacy. Privacy. That is the key word, privacy. Legalizing abortion nationwide. This landmark ruling was a significant step in the women's reproductive rights. In 1974, Equal Rights Opportunity, the Act of 1974, made it legal for creditors to discriminate against applicants based on sex or marital status, allowing women to obtain credit cards, mortgages, loans without a male co-signer. In 1981, women appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Sandra Day O'Connor was appointed as the first female justice of the Supreme Court in 1981, making a significant milestone in women's representation in judiciary. God, we have gone back so far with everything that has happened at this moment. In 2021, the first female vice president, Kamala Harris, became the first female vice president of the United States, as well as the highest ranking female official in the United States history. These milestones reflect an ongoing journey towards gender equality in the United States, while significantly progress has been made, the pursuit of equal rights continues. The reality is that I don't think we're ever going to really have equal rights for all of us. And I just kind of wanted to come on here and read that for the moment. Well, every day I'll read something different, but I think it's important that we get this information out there so that younger generations understand and know what has happened and how we have gotten where we're at. So at this point in time, I'm going to say thank you to everyone for joining. And although you may be passing by, thank you. I appreciate you. Also, before I check out, if you could scan the QR code that's listed up here, we're basically collecting signatures, and we're collecting them so that we can demand that the Supreme Court upholds democracy and that they remained loyal to their oaths. Because at this point in time, we're not talking about whether you're right or wrong. It's simply about upholding democracy. So thank you once again for joining. We will do this again. I don't want to do these segments for longer than 18 or 20 minutes. We're at 18 minutes, so it's time for me to say peace. See you guys later.